Good morning. So happy Thursday. I want to get on here, kind of talk about some things that I'm seeing and kind of give you some ideas that we can use in this position to kind of capitalize. And whole point of this is fighting forward is people that would want to further restrict your rights. They're kind of on the ropes. So if you guys can hear this, see this, please let me know. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And so the goal is let's talk about what we can do and where we're at. And so I'll let some people jump on here. If you guys can see this, please let me know. And hope you guys are having a good day. It's cold out, and so I've got some things that I want to talk about. And so, some of the things that I'm monitoring closely is what's happening in DC with Doge. And I think you can agree with Elon Musk or disagree, but the thing that he's done is really put us all in a position where we can actually have some power back from the federal government. And I'm hoping that this trickles down to the state governments as well. And so there's some of the things that I want to talk about is obviously, what we can do right now to make hay, right? So when the sun shines, we need to make hay. And so, going into this long session is how do we set ourselves up for success, And so, some of the things that we have to do is we have to get involved. We have to understand, where we're getting our information from. We have to be able to, increase our networks, our circles. We got to be working together with other groups that share they might not have a focus solely on guns, but we do have some cross pollination, if you know what I mean. And so part of what I want to talk about today is some of the tactics that we can use right now to actually make and build momentum about what's happening in around the country. And I think part of it is really important to note is the funding, and the funding's been a huge mechanism for the other side to take away our rights, continuing to push this anti-gun narrative. And what's happening is they're all being exposed. Okay. So this is like a 30,000 foot elevation look at the anti-gun movement. And this is where it trickles down to Oregon. There's definitely some things that we should be paying attention to. And so if you guys, for some reason, my comments are not working. So if you guys are here, please let me know. And I look forward to kind of talking about this process and getting you guys rallied up, right? Because it's time where if we start working and pushing forward, maybe we can get the changes that we need. Okay. So we're talking about the 30,000 foot view. Okay. So we're looking, I spent a lot of this morning looking on X to track down all these other organizations that are funded. They were funded by that USAID. And there's literally billions of dollars that have gone all over the world. Some of it is gone back to anti-gun groups. Okay. And the way this comes to Oregon, right, is the money trickles down. And so what that does is the money trickles down to the local Moms Demand, Every Town, Giffords groups that are in our state that are working and operating. And what they do is they donate to politicians that are in our legislature, or it could be city, it could be at the state level, right? So they're going to donate, and that's how they kind of launder this money. Okay. So what this does, right, by shining a light to this, is it shows how illegitimate all of this is. Okay. So if we look at from an optics standpoint, a messaging standpoint, the whole thing is all smoke and mirrors. And that's what I've known for a very long time. But now it's all come to light. And so all the evidence is there. And so they can no longer deny the fact that we have, dark money. We have people that are pulling the levers in DC that's getting back to our state. And what they're doing is they're working together to push this narrative that continues to further restrict our rights and take away our ability to protect ourselves and our families. And it's dangerous and it's unconstitutional. We continue to double down and spend money the way we shouldn't be spending money. And the state's broke. And so the whole process is broken though. And so, one thing that we need to focus on is the way that the money trickles down to our state. And it's really easy to do like a basic search of our reps, our senators, and we can look at their public Facebook pages. Okay. Many of them are either posing with Moms Demand Action, the ladies in red shirts. Okay. They've been a thorn in our side for many, many years now. And so this is how we show, guilt by association. We show the fact that all of this illegal, dirty money that's coming all the way from DC, that's trickling down to the local groups, which is going to our politicians, how they're all working together, and how it's illegitimate, right? It's called astroturfing. Okay, so really important to note. I'm writing a blog post right now on one of my websites. It's talking about grassroots versus astroturfing. And so grassroots would be, something that we're trying to do together here in the state of Oregon, right? We're all working together. We have a common goal. We're, from the ground up trying to affect change and protect our rights and our civil liberties. And then they have what's called astroturfing. Okay. Astroturfing is when you have money that manipulates the system, like what they're doing, and they create fake outrage. They use the fake outrage to push narratives. They use emotions to push the narratives as well. And so this is a way that they further, move that needle to take away our rights. And so I think, from my perspective, we're in a really good spot right now. And the reason I say that is now this is all a fraud. Okay. So now it's our turn to actually shine the light on these politicians that are taking this money, the ones that are aligning against us, the ones with the red shirts on them. This is our time to push back and say, no, we don't support these illegal, unlawful laws that you're trying to propose, because they come and they're illegitimate, and they're funded by our own taxpayers all across the country, so we have to look at the big picture here. We're in an information war. Okay. So we're always going back and forth. There's good and there's bad. And in this situation, our job would be to now present the information to the people that are on the fence, or the people that are watching us, watching our networks. And this is the ones that are kind of in the middle now. Now they're kind of people without a place, people without a country. And this is where we build these bridges. Okay. We build these bridges and hopefully, get them in a position where they can understand where we're coming at it from, a gun rights position. Okay. So these are civil liberties. Everybody in the United States that is a legal citizen are afforded these rights under our Constitution. And this is a very, very important document. And this is something that we have to support and defend. And we also have to do that in the Oregon State Constitution as well. And so part of that is just knowing how we can fight this. So we can fight this a couple different ways. Okay. The way we can do this, one of the most powerful tools that we have is this right here, is the phone. Okay. So this is literally, the smartphone is one of the great, you can look at it both ways. It's either the greatest tool that's ever been designed, or it's something that's been the biggest, the divisive feature in our country or in our world. And I like to say that there's some bad that come with technology, but there's also some really good things. Okay. It brings everybody together. Basically everybody has a supercomputer in their pocket. And that way we can share information and get our message out to the people that need to see it. And so what I'm advising everybody here is figuring out, what you can do to get your message out, to influence your circle. And so part of that is, could it be a meme? Could it be a message? Could it be an image? Could it be a well-worded post? Is it something that you can get out from the privacy of your home and put it out into the universe, so you can start making these connections and have it where it resonates with people that align with you, and it helps spread that message. And so the goal here is getting involved, right? And so anybody can create content. The whole point of creating content in this situation would be to kind of push back on this narrative and show that, we're not who they say we are, and how these proposed bills that we're talking about currently in Oregon, they're going to do nothing to save lives. And they're not designed to save lives, because they're designed to further chaos, because that's how they continue this spiral of the funding. And we don't want to see any tragedies ever happen. We're anti-tragedy here. But the thing is, we have to look at every time there is a tragedy, that's when these groups that I'm talking about, like the Everytown, Moms Demand Action, Gifford Packs, all these other groups, they fundraise. And so they send out emails, and marketing emails, basically. I mean, the crime scene isn't even secure, and they're already promoting it, and it's gross. We should not even be entertaining this. Okay. So, my advice for all of you is get involved and start making content and putting content out that promotes, responsible gun ownership, promotes a good message, something that resonates with the people that are in the middle there. Because there's people that I guarantee right now, what's happening, what people are seeing, and I've seen a lot from the other side where they feel totally betrayed by the way the Democratic Party is really taken over and what they've done. And so I think for us as gun owners, there's some room where we can capitalize and bring people into our space, obviously. And we're not always going to align and agree on everything. Okay. And it's important. It's okay to disagree, but it's how we disagree in those situations. I feel that if we're smart about it, that's how we're going to make this political hay and save up some political capital, because in reality, we need people that don't necessarily look like you and I or think like you and I. But what we do is we need their votes, and we need them to be in their circle of friends and be advocates for us and our 2A rights, and so that's kind of the message here is just understanding that you guys have a very powerful tool. You guys have an audience if you use it appropriately. And that's how we can actually grow what we need to do and make change. Okay. And when I say make change, like in this session, I don't expect any pro-gun legislation to go into effect. But what I want to do is I want to prevent the anti-gun message from being approved and going into law. And so if I can hold this and we can hold this line, I think, we're going to learn from that. We're going to be empowered by that. And it's going to help us get better at what we're trying to do and educate more people and get more people into the fray. And so, that's something that I do recommend. And it's pretty easy for you guys to get involved. And so, that's where you just start by doing it, and I've seen a lot of people that are putting out stuff, and I really, I respect it and I appreciate it. And it's not easy to do because it makes you vulnerable, and because you gotta be concerned about, if I put something out, is how is somebody going to respond to that message? And I get it. It's something that can be, well, you also have to understand is you got to have a thick skin and understand that if you're doing what you feel is right and you're principled and you have convictions on that, it shouldn't matter what somebody says behind the privacy of their screen somewhere in the country or in the state or around the world. And that's something that I've learned from just doing this for a long time is understand it can be toxic at times. It could be a negative experience, but it's something that if you believe in what you're saying, if you get it out into the world, you're going to help make this world a better place. And part of this also is writing letters to the editor. This is our time to score points and political points. This is our time to tie and put an anchor around all of these politicians that are aligned with the Moms Demand Action types or the Everytown types and the Giffords pack, so this is our time to connect all of those dots as a way to discredit them, right? Because what they're doing is not right and it's not legitimate. And here's the proof. We have the numbers showing that coming out of DC. And so, that's something that we have to be aware of and make sure that, we sound the alarm, and we sound that alarm to make sure that the people that are following along, they don't fall for the smoke and mirrors. Okay, we're awake now. We're not woke. We're awake. Okay, so that's the biggest thing that I want to kind of bring today. And so, it's just getting involved and understanding that, it might not be comfortable to do so, but we got to do so. So that's the only thing. And as of yet, I haven't seen a single question, so I don't know if anybody's even paying attention or if I'm just talking out to talk. But I want to get it out because I feel good. I feel empowered that if we can just move the needle, and it won't take much, right? So we write letters to the editor, we write our emails to our senators or representatives, and talk about the fact that, these bills. Let's use House Bill 3075 for an example. If we use that as an example, that this is not a good bill, this is why it's not a good bill, and your allegiance, right, with these groups, that's not a good representation of your constituents. That's a small fringe element. That's the thing is, like they always talk about, and we're looking at those anti-gun groups. They make up their own data. They make up their own data. They create their own research firms so they can support their position, but they cherry pick the data, and none of their data is based in reality. Okay, so it's really easy for a politician that doesn't do, and the politicians depend on these groups because these groups fundraise for them. These groups use their email campaigns. They do campaign events for them to keep them in power because they have that person in their pocket. Okay, so it's a very symbiotic relationship between the politician and these groups, these anti-liberty groups. I call them they're anti-gun, but they're really anti-liberty, and because that's what it's about. It's about our civil liberties. And when I talk, if I call it an anti-liberty group, I'm speaking with a broader brush, right? And I'm kind of using some of their words against them because it's really easy for them to make up terms, like they call AR-15 an assault rifle, ghost clipazines. These are just examples, right? But if I use like anti-liberty, right, I'm speaking in a language that they're not familiar with because they're used to me talking, pro-gun or anti-gun. If I'm talking pro-liberty, I'm speaking from a position where they don't have any experience, right? They're all about the further restriction. And so I speak in a way that they don't understand and can't comprehend. Then I can get them off their talking points. Okay. When they're off their talking points and they're off their script, that's when we can make these moves and we can make positive course corrections in this situation. And, it's something you'll learn. It's something that it's important to learn. It's important to get involved, and we can do it. So you got to believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing, and just clock in, and start putting out reels, start using TikTok. I mean, I'm not on TikTok, but there's people that are using it to their advantage, and just retweeting or retruthing or resharing stuff. I mean, that's a good way to get the message out. But the whole point of this is just making sure that you understand how very often the information is used against us. But if we get smart about it and we use these tactics against them, we're going to be successful, and we're going to change this narrative, and we're going to take that power away. And we need it more now than ever, right? So we have a couple bills in the legislature. We have House Bill 3075, we have Senate Bill 429, Senate Bill 696, Senate Bill 697, and Senate Bill 698. So there's the four doozies of a bill that I would say are supported by these anti-liberty groups, these anti-liberty politicians. And this is a way for us to tie them all together and show the rest of the state of Oregon that these people are not acting in our best interest in the back, especially when it comes to public safety. Because if it was truly about safety, like I believe it's Senate Bill 697, don't quote me on that, but there's one of them. It's about CHL, right? So it's basically restricting where I can carry with a concealed handgun license. Okay. So from a public standpoint, public safety standpoint, that makes no sense because there's been studies done that are most law abiding part of our society are the people with CHLs. Okay. We're the ones that are not committing crimes because by definition, we're law abiding. We've been through the process. We've been background checks. Most of us are training actively, so we are more of a benefit to society than a unenforceable law. Okay. And so, that's really important for us to remember is very often we are the solution, not the problem. And so we have to make our voices be heard. So that's all I got today. I just want to kind of do a touch base. I never saw any of the comments. So if you guys, obviously, you know how to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at any time, either on Facebook, send me a message, send me a text, send me an email. I'd be willing to help anybody. Maybe we could set up a like a Zoom call where we could do some training and I can show you kind of the tools that I use to help make images and graphics and videos and stuff like that. And maybe that's something that you guys can incorporate as well. And it's all about just the free and exchange of thoughts. Okay. They cannot control, obviously they can censor the message, but they can't control our thoughts. And the best way to do that is just overload the system. What's happening in DC with Trump with all the executive orders. They don't know what to do because they are in a position that they have never seen this full court press. And that's why I'm saying it's time to go, 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 right? So we are hitting that accelerator, we're pushing back, and we're taking ground. Okay. And it takes time to do so, so that's kind of where I'm at. I feel good. I feel empowered. And I'm writing a blog post right now. I wrote a blog post the other day, and what I'm using is I'm using my data, my metadata. So this stuff is going to be connected to the Senator James Manning, Prozansky, Jeff Kropp. I mean, it's like when they run for re-election, so he puts in a Google search, Jeff Kropp, I'm going to be tied to it. Okay. With this information that I put out to the public. And this is what you can do. And I can teach you all of this and help you be more effective and use the technology to your advantage, and the goal is just to stop this insanity, and it's like literally insanity is what it is. And it's a slow moving train wreck is what it is. And we're going to have it until July. So that's about all I have. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Happy Thursday. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. This is all food for thought. Okay. So this is food for thought. Create content, have it pro gun content, pro liberty, anti dark money, anti red shirt information, and let's push back and let's win, and we can win together and stop this stuff. So other than that, I'm gonna get off here. Thank you guys for tuning in and have a great day.